I'm Dane Reed, the voiceover guy, and I've never done an interview actually in my studio, and it's kind of nerve-wracking because the first interview that I'm doing in my studio is with George the Tech. I mean, that's incredible. George is the guy that everybody calls, including myself, when they need tech advice in the voiceover industry. If you haven't called him, you either don't have his number or you just have really bad sound. So I'm Dane Reed with George the Tech. Thank you, George, for coming in. Roll my intro. So I'm in the studio, my studio, with George the Tech. George, thank you so much. I mean, this is really like a big deal. Like for you to come in and to be my first guest in the studio is like pretty amazing.
Well, this came together very spontaneously.
It did. It did.
We were saying yesterday how luck favors the prepared.
Yeah.
You were just like, okay, let's make this happen.
Let's make this happen. I've actually wanted to have you interview for a really long time. Mm-hmm. You know, we've run into each other at a bunch of different events, from VO Atlanta to out in LA.
Out in LA.
Yeah.
Right? And Uncle Roy's Barbecue.
Uncle Roy's Barbecue as well.
Yeah.
Right. So there have been a number of times that we've run into each other at different events and stuff.
Yeah.
And you've helped me out actually with my stuff here in this studio. So tell us, why does everyone in the VO industry know who you are, and why, if you don't know, why you should know you?
I'd say anybody who is a working pro or a serious training actor probably has heard about me, because I've just been hustling, promoting myself for about as long as you've been in voiceover.
Yeah.
You started voiceover a little before I discovered the voiceover industry. Actually, I discovered the voiceover industry in 2000.
Okay.
When I was living in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And my friend introduced me to a voice actor who was a producer at the radio station. And he had this opportunity to take voiceover to his full-time career. Go from being a radio producer to full-time VO. And he moved to Manhattan. And then I went with my buddy Lane, and we set up his home studio. And that was my first experience setting up a home studio as just a helper.
Right.
So that was 2000-ish. And at that time, I wasn't connected to any VO in LA until the same actor, Howard Parker, I call him Client Zero.
Okay.
He had already moved to California, and my buddy Lane had flown out and set up his whole studio, but he caught wind of the fact that I was in LA, and he was like, hey, I could bring Lane out, but since you're here, you think you could help me with some stuff? He was very happy working with me and seeing me again. He told his management about me. Everything blossomed from there. But within a year, within a year from that point, I was working with Don LaFontaine.
Oh, wow.
It was like I went straight to the top of the talent pool, which was incredibly fortunate. And that's when I realized I had to drop everything. I needed this is absolutely what I need to be focused on. So
that was actually going to be my next question. Yeah. Who are some of the big voiceover actors that you've helped set up their studios?
Well, I mean, you know, Don is the king. I mean, he was some called him the voice of God, because he was that incredible voice. Yeah. So I've worked with so many amazing talent, because there's so many people that you never see on camera. The vast majority of my clients are never seen on camera. They're just pure VO. The ones that are on the top of my mind are the ones that I work with currently the most often. Okay. And that's going to be David Kay, Tara Strong, Joe Cipriano, Scott Rummel, Chris Fries. I helped Mara Juneau finish or design her studio with her husband Jordan. Yeah, that was crazy, because now you got Jordan, who's amazing. Right, and the bar was very high. Right, so Jordan knows sound, right? But the thing is, though, is Mara is extremely discerning. Okay, about what she wants. at some point they're going to release their little video. I shot some content and I'm waiting to release it. But the inside of it's all custom designed based on her what she wants. It's really cool. So, I want to drop some more names. They're going to start filtering my brain eventually.
Okay, hold on to names. There's so much I want to ask you because a lot of the people who are going to watch this are going to be like, oh my gosh, that's overwhelming. He's worked with all of these big people.
Yeah, I know.
But then your services are pretty reasonable, right? So tell me about some of the services that you that you perform for everyday voice actors who are not necessarily at the top, but they're not at the bottom either.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I do. I definitely hear that occasionally, or I get that feeling from some people that because I work with all those folks that I'm already booked up, and it's not true. Like, go to my website, and first of all, the website has a lot going on. And I know that. Okay?
What's the website?
Website? GeorgeThe.tech. The website's a little overwhelming, but what I did was I have this button that says, don't know where to start. First timers, click this button. Okay. And the first thing it does is ask you about your needs. Tell us about, there's a form. Tell us about what you have for gear, where you're starting from. And then I have a dedicated person who's an amazing human being named Rich Green, who's a retired school principal. Okay. So talk about
shout out to teachers and school professionals.
Right. Who will take that form, and then he will interview that person and make sure they get what they actually need. Because when you do have so many service offerings, it's a little overwhelming. There's a lot going on.
What kind of services do you offer to voice actors?
So the ones that everybody needs and doesn't take advantage of enough is called a sound check. Okay. So the sound check is straight up me listening to your audio and evaluating what you're doing from a technical perspective, making sure that the audio you're sending out is what it's supposed to sound like. That's a call out to Dan Leonard, because he came up with Whistle. Okay. What it's supposed to sound like. And that's super important. Because I'll get sound checks from people that decide to send one in, even though they're already booking. They're like, oh, my clients are happy. Yeah. And the thing is, a lot of this stuff, nobody will say anything, nobody will complain. You can still be booking and sending out okay audio. Right. And what you don't know is you're missing out on the very top of the business, because they're the most discerning. Right. And they're never ever going to tell you that the audio isn't good. You just don't get a call, you just don't get an email, you just don't get booked. Right. So you just never know, you're getting filtered out. So that's a big one. So the sound check, you can send me the audio sample. Nowadays, now I will accept a dry and a wet. Because so many people have processing.
Explain
now.
that.
So dry is just when you hit record and record your voice, you hit stop, that's dry audio. Okay. That's assuming you don't have any fancy bells and whistles like an Apollo with a processing preset and a chain, just dry. Then if you have a wet, meaning you've got a processing preset or a chain or post-processing stack. What do you record with? What's your software do you record with?
I'm using Cubase.
So in Cubase, that's right. You're the Cubase
I'm the only weirdo who
uses it. You're the Cubase guy.
I'm the Cubase guy.
That's right. So in Cubase, they probably call it an effects chain. I don't know what they call it in Cubase. An insert? What do they call it?
It's an insert.
It's an insert. So I would listen to your audio if you're using an insert of effects. I would listen to that audio too. I just want to hear what your processing scheme is, whether I did it or not, and then make sure it's where it should be. So the most important is really the dry audio or the raw audio. So I'll evaluate that and give you notes on recording levels, noise floor, your mic technique, and your room acoustics. And then if there's a wet sample, then also I'll mention your processing if it could be improved. And that's it. Sound check. That's $40, and it's the least expensive service I offer, and it's probably the highest value. Okay. I think, because that's just what everybody needs.
I think getting evaluated, whether it's voiceover with your talent or your studio, both really important, especially actually regardless of what part of your career you're in. I think that's really important, especially if you move around, if you move from one place to another, that changes. Yep. So those things are really important. What do you recommend? Like, you have a limited budget, but it's decent, but you have a limited budget. Maybe, I don't know, $2,000. Let's say,
$2,000
right?
for everything.
What did, yeah,
Assume-
2,000.
let's
Maybe
assume
let's call it 3,000, and you already have the computer,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
Let's call it
Okay.
3,000.
All right.
What you come into my studio, I have nothing in here. What do you tell me to do?
That's a decent amount of money. So when you have that kind of a budget, you can probably start off with a more pro level microphone,
Mhm.
right? So you can spend a bit more now. You can spend in that 500 to 1,000 range on
Okay.
a mic here, but you definitely want to spend at least 30 minutes talking to me about what you're going to buy.
Okay.
And evaluate your space
Mm-hmm.
and what makes sense for you in your environment.
Mhm.
So you can figure out, should I be spending a lot more money on soundproofing? So then, that opens you up to acoustic treatment. You can get really nice acoustical treatment for your room instead of just having moving blankets. That's going to be, depending on the size of the space, between $500 and maybe $800 worth of your budget right there. And tell me, the acoustics is so important. It is more important what mic you use. So now, maybe you spent $1,500 on acoustics and a microphone.
Mhm.
Then the rest of it's going to be just the little support things, like a $100 pair of headphones.
Mhm.
I like the Audio Technicas. And then you need an interface. So your interface really comes down to what your needs are. My favorite sweet spot right now
Mhm.
is, from a really basic standpoint, is the SSL2.
Okay.
It's around $200. Very easy to operate. Literally every knob is on top. One knob does one thing. There's no modes or nothing. It's just one knob does one thing. Very easy. And then, getting a nice mic mount. I like table or wall mount mic booms. I don't like things on the floor that you're gonna kick
Yeah.
and knock over. And then software, you can honestly, Audacity, people use it all the time. And
Yeah.
because I came from Mac, we were on Twisted Wave. And I just like it because it's like digital tape. It's not multi-track. It's very straightforward.
Mhm.
I think that's what a lot of actors need. So that's pretty much everything. Then you get it all set up. If you need help, you hook up with me. You get a sound check. And then if the sound is great, then you get your processing preset for doing auditions. And yeah, that's $3,000 that's a healthy budget to get started. We've definitely done less.
Now, I know you don't recommend 3,000 for someone who's just coming in.
If you're thinking about voiceover,
Right.
no.
Okay.
But if you've spent a year coaching and
Yeah.
you're like, okay, my USB mic is getting a little, I need to step it up.
Mm-hmm.
This would be your next level.
Yeah. So don't blow $3,000 if you're just getting started. That
No.
makes no sense. That doesn't book the job for you in lieu of acting skills.
That's right. You probably
Because-
should have spent $3,000 on acting, coaching, and other stuff
Yeah.
before you even get to this. Don't do the cart before the horse.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I know you from EWAB's days, right?
Yeah, people are like EWAB.
Right.
Like
East
that.
West Audio Body Shop
Yeah.
days with Dan Leonard.
Body Shop was a callback to Car Talk,
Uh-huh.
which is this goofy show on PBS radio from Boston.
Yeah.
With two brothers from.
And you guys were
Talk about
doing
cars.
this show
So we were
like kind of in that
It
style.
felt like that style.
Right.
We
And you were doing
yeah.
it every Monday, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he moved west.
Yep. He moved to town. He moved
Right.
to LA.
And
Yeah.
so you couldn't use the EWABs thing anymore.
We went to Voiceover Body Shop. VOBS.
Yeah,
which is
VOBS.
beautiful.
And when does VOBS come on? And what do you guys talk about?
Well, I'm going to drop a bomb.
Okay.
Because you may not know that the show actually wrapped up.
I did not know that.
We ended at the end of last week. Well, we really shot our last episode at the end of November, I guess it was.
Okay.
End of December.
So how many episodes do you think you guys have done?
I literally ingested every YouTube video from our VOBS channel
Mhm.
into a chatbot, which I'll talk about later.
Okay.
And that was 620 shows.
Okay.
And then before that, with EWABs and all the other content, it was probably anher 300 to 400 shows.
So there's somewhere
take
like
one of the 1,000
shows.
episodes
So
range, yeah.
if you need tech advice and information, like they have 1,000 shows
Yeah.
on their YouTube channel. And a bunch of interviews as well with voice actors and things like that that you can go check out. It is a great place to get started.
Yeah.
So talk to me about this. You were telling me about this chatbot that you're working on.
Chatbot. Yeah, well, AI is a crazy disruption to anybody in technology. At the beginning of the year, when I found out when New York Times was suing OpenAI for copyright, possible copyright infringement. I was thinking about, this is intellectual property. I have intellectual property. I have all this content out there. I can't stop anybody from skimming it, or I can't stop that. So I wanted to have that content accessible in a chatbot form before somebody else does.
Okay.
And so I lit a fire under me to make that happen. So I have a chatbot. I have a couple of chatbots. So the first chatbot, which is the one that I have available now, is based on my own personal knowledge. Okay. So that's like AI George.
Okay.
So by the time you see this video, there's going to be a slash Dane, and there's going to be a hidden landing page just for you guys to go play with the chatbot.
Okay.
So basically, I've been using it personally now for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks actually, and it's so fun.
So this is an exclusive.
It's exclusive. It is. It's the first time I'm telling anybody else outside of my own people, and it's so fun because it really is useful. It's not just generalized knowledge. I mean, it's not going to get into the nitty gritty. Like, I have a 3x4x7 room. What panels should I?
Right.
It can't get into the nit. That's where you want to talk to me directly. But in terms of a tremendous amount of just general information, everything I've talked about on every VOBS, every George the Tech video, every FAQ I've written, every post I did on the VOBB, which is a website that's been up for like 18 years, every Facebook group post I've ever done, I scraped all that stuff and put in the chatbot.
Okay.
It's an unbelievable resource. You've probably used chatbots by now because you've clicked on the little bubble on the bottom right side of the website, and a little thing comes up and it says, what do you need to do? Yeah. This isn't for customer service. This is just knowledge. This is the world's best search engine for audio and learning things in audio in existence.
So when it comes out, where do we find it?
It'll be widely available, but I want it to be more exclusive right now. I want it to be in smaller. So /GeorgeThe.Tech/Dane.
Okay.
We'll put it there. So you guys can check it out and try it out. So you'll be able to sign up. It'll be free for a week that you can just go to town and just play with it. And then it'll be $20 a month after that. And I'm hoping that it's really useful for folks and they really find value in it. It's hard to know what to charge for something like this.
Yeah.
It's never existed before in this way. And it's a big, grand experiment. But I've been using it myself, and it's been great. The amount of stuff, because now you're searching everything every coach has ever been on the show, every director. The amount of data and useful information is mind-boggling.
I can imagine.
It's beyond any book. And it's way better than a Google search. Yeah. This is like a super ultra focused, give you some good information very quickly kind of a resource.
So you've got the chatbot, you help people build studios, you help people with sound check. Where can people find you when they need you?
Well, I want to make sure you guys find me at GeorgeThe.Tech/Dane. So you know what we talked about today.
Right.
I'm going to have everything we talked about in that one place. But yeah, anytime you need me, GeorgeThe.Tech. In fact, if you can't get me on the schedule that I have available, because I do have a calendar on there, we have other folks too. We have other folks who are extremely expert, high level. We have Robert Marshall, the co-founder of Source Connect. He's one of our on-call techs.
Oh, wow.
Literally,
and I've worked with him as well.
Yeah, we have a phone line. Right, you can call in and get patched through, which is amazing. We have Tim Friedlander, Jim Edgar.
Okay.
So if I'm not available, you might get one of them. But I'm very proud of it, and it's beyond me now. It's about helping it's more people helping more people. Yeah. And our slogan now is performer-friendly techs. That's what we are.
Awesome. George, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, man. It's been a pleasure.
Great. Yeah.
What an honor to be in your home, man. Bring me into your home.
Well, welcome to my home.
It's a beautiful place, man. This place, I'm going to shoot some video because this place is really nice.
That's a high compliment considering how many studios you've seen and built.
It's clean.
So I appreciate that.
Nice.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Dane Reed, the voiceover guy, and we're wrapping up in my studio with George the Tech. Actually, I'm going to shoot some extra content of George just exploring the studio, so check that out after the outro. I'm Dane Reed, the voiceover guy. Check me out. Oh, George, I have one more question for you.
Yeah, one more thing.
Mac or PC? Wrong answer, George. I know you were going to say Mac. We're out of here before he says it.
That's a good one. That's a good one. You can put that in the title.
So I have George in the studio. He's shooting me. I'm shooting him.
I wanted to see what Dane's got going on here. I mean,
Okay.
The fact that he had me over meant he must be proud, and he should be, because this is a really beautifully put together space. So yours is made out of butcher block.
Yeah, this is all butcher block.
You're using the Apollo hardware, which we all know is a pretty serious piece of gear for people that really like a lot of control over their audio. Nice 2 sets of monitors. Are these what are these? Which ones are these?
Don't
these
get
are
me
the ones
lying.
that they purposely don't brand them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Status?
Status. These are the status.
The monster, humongous, crazy LG screen.
And I took that picture myself, by the way. I took that picture in Easter Island.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And then this is the workhorse right here. Right?
Yeah, the Dell XPS 15.
Here's the microphone. And this is your standing at your desk mic.
Yeah.
How do you find you use this mic the most? What kind of stuff?
I use this mic most for almost everything. I mostly use this when I do long form. Is when I go into the studio behind you.
This is the spot. This is the spot.
Yeah.
This is me being Dane right here. Right?
Yeah.
But then you got the booth. So you go in here when you want to do long form.
Yes.
You want to make sure that you're not going to have any interruptions.
Right.
Or noise.
Yep.
And it's a sitting workstation. Although it looks like you could do sitting or standing.
You can do standing, but it's a little bit more cumbersome standing.
So
the
where
cloud?
did you hear about ceiling clouds?
We watched a bunch of videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of the best things you can do in your booth. Is put a nice big ceiling cloud panel. This is a nice setup in here.
Thanks, man.
And good lighting too. That's right.
So.
Well, nice work, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I got the highest compliment from George the Tech. So, I mean, I must be doing something all right in here. So.
This is nice, and it's something to be proud of.
Yeah, I appreciate it.